Reddit, what's your top holy crap that worked moment? Had a laptop slide backwards off my lap, hit the floor and stop working. Showed me an error screen and wouldn't start back up. Decided to turn it over and drop it from the same height onto its opposite side. Why not? It's already broken, right? And it started working again. Your reasoning was that something was knocked out of place and turning it over and dropping it would push it back into place. Nice. I am glad it worked for you. One time a bird got caught in our chimney, and while me and my roommate discussing how to get it out, he suggested we stick our hand up there and the bird will just land on our finger. I laughed at him and said it would never work. Within 30 seconds he was walking to the door with a bird perched on his pointer finger. Had the infamous red rings of death for an old Xbox 360 at one point. Called up a buddy. He told me to turn it off, hold it about 1.5 feet above the floor, and just drop it. I figured that I couldn't make it much worse, so I dropped it. Worked perfectly ever since. I have a Verizon Center staff lanyard that a buddy gave to me from some concert 10 or 12 years ago. It literally says nothing but Verizon Center and staff, white letters on a black background, and then has a small barcode and some illegible gibberish on the other side. It could be entirely fake, as I've never seen anyone else use one like it. So far, 3 free concerts and 1 free NBA game. Half afraid to keep using it, especially since the arena changed its name. I can't get anyone else in with it, so while I can literally go anywhere, I have to do it alone, which is much less fun. Let me know how that works at the Capital One Arena. In school, I belatedly realized I had an essay due the next day, which I simply didn't have the time to do. What I did have time to do was write slightly more than a page. I then printed only the first, full page, and handed this inside a plastic wallet. I then finished the essay at home that night. So, the next day, when my teacher grabs me in the corridor and says, "You realize you only have me the first page of your essay, right?" I was able to say, "Oh, shoot, the rest must have fallen out or something. I'll go print it out right now and bring it to your office." My friend and I had driven out into the woods to a small fishing hole on a creek in the mountains, about 30 kilometers away from town. Freaking idiot I am, locks the keys in my pickup. We had a case of beer in the back of the truck, so we both chugged a few, and I cut the cans and folded them into a long thin, Slim Jim type tool and unlocked the truck first try. After reading this, I immediately wished I was there with you just to experience this holy crap moment. When I got promoted at work, it came with a small bump in pay. I asked for a slightly bigger bump, and was then given even more than I asked for. The best, and quite often only, way to get a pay rise at work is to simply ask for one. Worst that happens is they say no. Halloween party during college and everyone is starting to pass out except this very inebriated girl who just won't shut up about wanting someone to turn off the light. I pulled the sleeping bag over her face and said click. She said thank you and went to sleep. My friend and I looked at each other, amazing that it actually worked. And then she suffocated and died. Click. I had a test coming up and, needless to say, I didn't want to take it. So, 9-year-old me decides to jump out of a tree and fake being hurt. I didn't go to school for the next 2 days. I realize now that I could have just said that I fell out of a tree. I didn't have to actually do it. Some method acting level crap. Moved offices at work. Tried admin password on the new router login page. Who has 2 thumbs and higher bandwidth? This guy. This makes me irrationally angry. Applied for a job at a French fry factory. The online application asked what makes you want to work for us? I simply put potatoes are my favorite food. HR lady and engineering manager loved it. Been working there 10 months now. I guessed someone's Wi-Fi password. I think Equifax would like to have a word with you. In high school, I told a girl who was way out of my league, "You should give me your number." She asked, "Why would I do that?" I said, "Because if I just dial randomly, it will take forever to call you." Waited to be shot down. But she laughed and gave it to me. We were together for 7 years. When I try it, "You should give me your number, because if I owe." Just did an oil change on one of my cars using AMSOIL and realized my friend who put the drain bolt back in didn't replace the crush washer. I didn't want to drain the oil back into containers because of my fear of contaminating it. We decided to grab the shop vac and hold it to the fill hole. Turned it on and I removed the drain bolt expecting the atmospheric pressure to either hold the oil in or end up with it in my face. The oil stayed in place like it was being blocked by a force field. Replaced the crush washer and put the bolt back in without losing a drop. A guy we'll call Bob left the company I was at. A year or two later he started recruiting people from our company. I was interested so I flew out for an interview. First 5 interviews went great. Seemed like a good group to work with. The final interview was with the HR director. It went okay and then we got to the pay part. I said I wanted X amount. She said the average pay for my experience and position was X 20k. My response was Bob didn't fly me out here because I'm average. I have no idea why I said that, but I got the job and the pay I wanted. Months later when we were getting drinks Bob brought it up. Apparently HR director thought I was very quiet and introverted from our interview so my response caught her even more off guard than it caught me. That's actually a pretty brilliant response. And you're right, Bob wouldn't have flown you out if you were average. Used an electric palm sander to clean the soap scum out of my tub. Put a sponge right on the bottom and turned that bad boy on. I thought my tub was just naturally eggshell color. Nope, it's pure white. When I was younger I was into magic and thought I invented a magic trick that used subliminal messaging to get someone to pick a card. I secretly turned the 2 of hearts over in the deck and handed it to the kid my mom was watching. I asked my mom to name any card. Then I said to the kid, "You too, name of kid, whatever card is in your heart." Trying to get him to say the 2 of hearts. To my disbelief he actually said the 2 of freaking hearts. I didn't touch the deck for the entire trick and told him to go through it and he saw his selection turned over. I was in just as much amazement as he was. Me and heavily pregnant wife on a really hot, stuffy train a few weeks ago. For some reason, the heaters were on full blast. I asked the ticket inspector if he can get them turned off, but he said there was nothing he could do. Read. Couldn't be asked to look into it. As a long shot, I tweeted at the train line in question, explaining the situation. They tweeted back saying they'd get in touch with the driver. Not 2 minutes after sending the tweet, and we hear the satisfying power down noise of all the train's heaters. I just used the tiny slab in my pocket to manipulate the environment around me with what felt like magic. What a time to be alive. A very confused patient was fighting me when I was trying to give him IV antibiotics. "You're going to kill Emmy. What is my family going to do if you kill Emmy?" he wailed while pointing at his adult son. "If I kill you, they can sue me in the hospital and be rich," I said. The man just kinda made an "oh yeah" kind of mumble and let me hook him up to the IV. His son was trying so hard not to laugh. A few years ago I was drunk and set the personal ringtone of a girl I liked to "Sixpence None the Richer, Kiss Me." No idea what I was thinking while doing that. After a night out partying we hung out together and I told her to call me on my cell phone. We kissed. It was incredibly cheesy and I cringed over myself, but somehow it worked. This is some movie level crap right here. Back when I was 8 or something I was waiting for my parents to pick me up after a movie in the winter time. There was a hill of freshly plowed snow I was dying to play in, but I knew the minute I went over there, my parents would show up to come get me. But as the wait dragged on, I started to get cold and really wanted them to come get me. So I figured to myself, well, if the minute I hop into that snow pile they'll be here, and I want them to be here, I guess I should hop in. Lo and behold, within 3 minutes of me hopping into that snow pile, the car showed up. That moment has stuck with me for the rest of my life. To this day, whenever I want something to happen that I'm waiting for, a friend to come over, a parcel to arrive, etc., I just start to do that thing I've been putting off because I don't want to get interrupted, and like magic it makes the thing I'm waiting for happen within 10 minutes. Happened on Saturday actually. Was waiting for a friend to show up so we could go to a thing, and after I got impatient with the wait, I figured, I'm going to boot up a video game. That'll make him get here. No sooner had I loaded into the game, then my doorbell rings. Like a charm. Haha, me and my friends started noticing that happening when we were waiting for a bus and someone would light up a cigarette. Within 2 drags draw on the smoke the bus would show up, lol. Once upon a time in Iraq my tank's fire control system fricked up. We couldn't shoot stuff. The mechanic did some troubleshooting, busted out a can of soda, tore off the little piece of aluminum that gets punched in when you crack it open, and wedged the aluminum piece into some electrical component in the tank. The gun started working again. Applied for some university thing that took off 14k from my loans. Just a simple form. It was newly implemented and I thought it was too easy to be true. Just like winning the lottery. This is basically the millennial version of a fairy tale. You have been visited by the high bandwidth husky. You will be blessed with fast browsing speeds and wide internet tubes, but only if you comment load fast, papa.